Welcome back to How to Soar in 24. We want to explore ways, places we've never been before so that we can have more, not more of just of things, but more of all of life could possibly have in store for us. We decided the last time we were together that we did not want to have a ditto year. We agreed that many people who say Happy New Year end up having a ditto year. We went a little further. We made an inventory of some of our important successes in 23. And then, in addition to that, we took the time, you took the time, we took the time to write down some of the qualities that enabled us to overcome our resistances that led to us pushing through and having some of those successes in 23. Now, we've got much more ground to cover. In about 1980, Donnelly and I had been on a vacation up in the panhandle of Idaho. We were heading back for Portland, July, hot. And as we were traveling along, some thoughts began to ruminate in my mind. I think it had to do with the fact that I'd been completely away from the business for about a week. And I asked Donnelly to hand me my portfolio from the back seat of the car, which she did. And I drove with my knee for the next few minutes. And as I was driving along with my knee, I scribbled down the words, there lives inside each of us a genius, a power, a capacity, an untapped potential. This possibility for being and becoming is seen in the shadows of our past achievements, the mists of our dreams and aspirations. We tap our potential by gaining confidence for our successes, accepting responsibility for our present, and committing to our goals. I didn't think much about it. We got home and life began to kick in. A day or two later, I picked up my portfolio again and read that paragraph and said, it's pretty good. And then I had it typed up, and it has served as the philosophy statement for Turbo Leadership Systems for these last many years. And it's on the back of our Leadership Development Lab manual. It's on the back of all of our Turbo materials. As it turns out, there are 6 steps, and these are the steps that we're taking to soar in 24. There are 6 steps revealed in this philosophy statement. It actually became the framework for my book, How to Turbocharge You. So let's go back through the philosophy statement again. There lives inside each of us a genius, a power, capacity, an untapped potential. It's pretty easy for most people to sort of passively agree with that statement. And then they will go further and agree that they could see more potential in their children or in their spouse or in their mother or dad or brother or sister or a co-worker or boss. But it's a little more difficult sometimes for them to believe about themselves that they're leaving a significant part of their potential on the table. So let's start by agreeing that not only do all the people we know have more potential, but that I have more potential. So having agreed on that, as I hope we can, let's take those next steps. There lives inside each of us a genius, a power, capacity, an untapped potential. This possibility is seen in the shadows of our past achievements, the mists of our dreams and aspirations. Shadows of our past achievements. Now, what determines the length of a shadow? Honestly, it's not the height of the pole. It's the angle of the sun. It's the angle that we look through that the light shines on the pole. It's the angle that you and I look at our past achievements that will determine the length of the shadow, which will determine our confidence. And I'm said to us, and I hope we've done this now, that we begin to get that confidence by writing down some of our past achievements. And you can go back further if you'd like, but we began by writing down some of our past achievements in 23. And the confidence really begins to come now when we go look and say, I drew upon my determination. I drew upon my persistence. I drew upon my ability to enlist others. I drew upon my enthusiasm. I drew upon my ability to do critical thinking. I drew upon my ability to be creative, or whatever that quality was. And you have all of those qualities and many, many more. So as we inventory those, our confidence begins to grow. So the philosophy statement goes on to say, in the mists of our dreams and aspirations. I've been thinking about that word aspirations a little more the last few days. It's a good word, isn't it? It's that sort of ability to see ourselves or to see things or to have a capacity to reach beyond. It's really the ability to dream. Emerson said, I believe it said it this way, I'm going to paraphrase him, that if God gave us the ability to perceive it, to image it, he gave us at the self-same time the ability to achieve it. Now, that may be a stretch for some of us, but at least let's believe that if we have the capacity to visualize it, to begin to capture it in our minds, there is at least the seed, if not a whole lot more, of our ability to accomplish that dream that we're holding in our minds. So this is the next step for us. The next step for us is to write down some of our dreams, to put into written form some of our dreams for 2024. In other words, what would it mean to you if you soared in 24? What would that amount to? What would that sort of look like? And by the way, this is how we think. We really do think in terms of pictures. And so if we start to think about a little fuller life with our family, we probably have some kind of a picture there. Or we think about some advancement in our career, we have some kind of a picture there. If we think about some of advancements in our mental capacities like reading or taking courses or something like that, we have some kind of a picture there. So it's so important for us now just to dream. This is not tangible yet, but it has some, that idea of mists. I just happened to pick up, I'm going through some reorganization of books here at our place. I just happened to pick up this book, American Dreamers, as I was going through. This is my friend Ken Austin and his wonderful wife, Jane, and they put together a company out of nothing. When they were early married, they're both deceased now, which became the #2 manufacturer of dental equipment. If you've had your teeth cleaned recently, chances are it included some of the use of their equipment, their chair, their cabinet, their drill, or whatever it may have been that the dentist used with you. And it all started with a dream. As I've thought about this in the last few days, I've thought about that wonderful play, which has the feature song, Happy Talk. Happy talk, keep talking, happy talk. You know that song, I won't try to sing it for you, but chances are you know it from South Pacific, first the play and then the movie. And there we're told that how are you going to have a dream come true if you don't begin with a dream? And so that's where we're beginning. And I know it's hard for us sometimes to really admit that we're dreaming these things, but it's the start. And I hope that you'll sit down on your own or with your spouse or someone else important in your life and just say, well, what are some of our dreams for 2024? Again, what would it look like for us to soar in 24? If we had no limits, if everything were possible, what might happen for us in 2024? Now that we've written out some of our dreams, now let's take a look at the last 3 components. So the philosophy statement says we tap our potential by gaining confidence in our successes, and then it goes on to say accepting responsibility for our present. This is a big one, and it's one that can be scary for us. And when we feel somehow that we're being held accountable, we're holding ourselves accountable, or someone else is holding us accountable, there can be a great temptation to say, well, I could have gotten it done if I'd had. And we begin to bring in excuses, don't we? We begin to talk about all the things outside of us, which were outside of our control, that I had no ability to, what's the word, I guess, no ability to counteract, that resulted in my not achieving what I set out to achieve. Unfortunately, when we do this, if we allow ourselves to do this, It makes us a victim. We become powerless. Powerless. So the answer for gaining this ability to make our dreams come true, this ability to soar in 24, is to say, what part did I play in this? What part did I play in this? The wonderful cartoon strip Pogo, where Pogo says, here's another fine mess I got me into. I love that, because if we're willing to say, yeah, it's not my wife's fault who's cooking all these wonderful cookies. It's not her fault. It's my fault. Well, if we can do that, if we can say that, guess what? We can get ourselves out. If I got me into this mess, I can get me out of this mess. But if someone else put me in this mess, I'll never get out of this mess until they come and get me out. That is such a powerless place to be. You don't want to be there, and I don't either. And this first step is to accept full responsibility. I know it sounds heavy. I don't want it to be. I want you to get a sense of power that comes from this. Full responsibility, an excuse-free life. Now, am I there completely? No, I'm not. It's a place I strive to be, and it's a place I urge you to move toward more of as we look for ways to soar in 24. Now, as we move in on the last step, this is a big one, and the big one is committing to our goals. I'm working with a coach who's helping me with my physical fitness. And he says, now, Larry, I would like for you to try to put both your feet so they're parallel. And I say, Jonathan, you want me to try? He's got it now, but at first he says, yeah, I'll try. I said, oh, look at me. I'm trying so hard to get my feet parallel. That's not what he wanted me to do. He wanted me to make my feet parallel. I said, Jonathan, you want me to make my feet parallel? Tell me, because I have the capability. I can do it. I don't want to be like, I don't want to go into this try mode, and you don't either. Trying will not get us anywhere. Everybody tries so hard. So instead we say, I will. Now, this isn't easy. I've coached so many people in this. I know how challenging it can be to say, this is what I'm going to do in 24. Now, that's when we turn to dreams. We start with the dreams. I hope you got a long list of dreams. Then we make some real serious commitments. And I don't think you need to make more than 4. You really don't. You can make more if you want to. That's your decision. But it'd be great if you say, okay, these are 4 things I'm going to achieve in 24. They exceed my grasp. I may have tried in the past in these areas. Maybe I haven't. But this year, I'm fully energized around committing to these 4 stretch goals. Now, goals by definition are specific, aren't they? They're measurable. I actually said to Jonathan, I want us to set some specific goals for my physical improvements in 24. And he began to give me some things, which were honestly, and I told him that those are subjective. I want something we can measure. And if we can make it measurable, we can both feel good about our progress toward them, and we can both feel good about them when we have accomplished them. So you might think in terms of, back to our 6 or 7 areas, you might think in terms of getting a promotion. You might think in terms of qualifying for another something you need to accomplish in your career, as an example, certification, maybe a certified welder or whatever it is you're pursuing. Maybe taking another course, maybe in the area of education for you. Maybe taking more of a meaningful vacation with your family, maybe retiring some debt, maybe having some money in savings, maybe getting yourself to church more than Sunday, maybe than Christmas and Easter. I mean, you find that, but make it specific. Making it specific is so important for us. And then not only making it specific, they need to be measurable. And usually if they're specific, they're measurable. They have to be tangible, of course. Saying I'm going to feel better, but no, it has to be tangible, or it's just not a goal. It has to exceed your grasp, or you can just grab it. That's not a goal. That's important. And of course, it has to be in writing. And again, I've had so many people say to me, and I'm talking hundreds now, maybe thousands, well, I know what I want. Why do I have to write it down? Well, my response is simple. If you know what you want, why are you resisting writing it down? Why aren't you willing to write it down? Why aren't you enthusiastic about writing it down? Again, going through some old things the last little bit, I came across some things that I just thought I'd love to share with you today. This is dated 1970. Yeah, this is 1971. These are some specific goals that I set for 1971. This is 1973. These are some specific goals that I set for 1973. This is in my treasure chest over here. This is 1982. Some specific goals I set for 1982. So I'm just urging you to do this. It's so important. And just so you know, I'm doing it with you. This is my Soar in 24, not a very beautiful cover, but you can make one as attractive as mine. How to Soar in 24. And in it, I've placed actually tabs for these 7 areas: physical, family, social, mental, and so on. And then, so I can always keep it in front of me. And this to me is one of the keys that almost no one mentions when they're talking about goals. Always keep it on your present. Keep it nearby. So this, I keep this in my portfolio, and Donnelly will tell you that this goes with me about everywhere I go. So I always have it with me. And I did something a little different for me this year. I thought it was, I'm excited about it, sharing it with you actually. Again, this is personal, and this may not fit you at all. So you have your own way of approaching this. But what I did was I put just a summation, of just a brief summation of what my goals are for 2024. In the middle, I put a scripture that many of you will be familiar with. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. His right use. And these things will be added unto us. Now I'm trusting that as you have shared these few minutes with us, that you will agree that you're too important to just let the days slip by. You're too important to just casually go through the year. We do not, I do not, you do not want to end your year and look back over it and say, another ditto year. It doesn't have to be so for you. I know it won't be so for you. And I look forward to the next time we can get together. I want to share with you, one of the things I want to share with you is something kind of fun that I accomplished in 23 that I hadn't even thought of on my original list. And I'll share more about that with you in one of our future videos. Let's soar together in 2024.
If you didn't know Larry then, you do now. It's a joy to know him. If you haven't liked and subscribed to this channel already, you don't want to miss the next steps to Soar in 24. I encourage you to watch this with your spouse, share it with a friend, and blow it up on Facebook. Let's help everyone soar in 24. And if you're interested in purchasing his book, How to Turbocharge You, click the link below. We'll see you next time.